Hi guys and welcome. In this video we're going to study geometry, and there are two main sections, which is angles in polygons and quadrilaterals. When we talk about a polygon is a 2D figure that has basically more than or equal to 3 sides. Now we get two types of polygons. We get a regular polygon and irregular polygon. Regular polygons are where each angles are the same and each side is the same, and irregular polygons are polygons where the angles are different and the sides are different. Thereafter we'll study sum of angles, interior angles, exterior angles of regular polygons. Now we're looking at this regular polygon, which is a triangle, and remember this is a triangle which is a regular polygon, so all the sides are the same, so basically each angle is the same. Remember, sum of angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So we know the angle sum, so sum of angles is equal to 180 degrees. So in this exercise we're trying to make a relationship between the number of sides of a regular polygon and how to find the sum of angles. So remember, this has 3 sides, so 3 sides, the sum of angles is 180. Interior angle, each interior angle, right, each interior angle, this is the angle symbol, each interior angle is equal to the sum of the angle, which is 180 degrees divided by the number of sides, which is 3. So we get 60, 60, 60. Now what's important as well is the angle outside, which we call an exterior angle. Now how do we get the angle outside? It's going to be 180 minus 60, because angles on a straight line is equal to 180 degrees. So, and the exterior angle is basically equal to 180 degrees. It's always 180 minus the interior angle, which is 60 degrees. So we get 120. I hope you guys understood that. So for the sum of angles I'm just going to use S. For interior angle I'm just going to use the I. For exterior angle I'm just going to use E. Right. So what can we say? The sum of interior plus exterior angle plus the exterior angle is always equal to 180 degrees, if you see from here. Right, therefore. Next one, the sum of angles. What's the sum of angle here? The angle sum is basically, we have 4 sides, right? So how do we find the angle sum? Remember, we can fit 2 triangles inside here without overlapping diagonals. So that's why we say, because we can fit 2 triangles, it's going to be 2 times 100. Remember, the angle sum of the first triangle is 180, and the angle sum of the second triangle is also 180. So you got 2 times 180 degrees, which is 360. And remember, this is a square because all sides are the same, so each angle is 90, 90, 90. So the interior angle is equal to 360 divided by 4, because this quadrilateral has 4 sides and it's a square. So we're getting 90 degrees. So if the interior angle is 90, then the exterior angle is also equal to 90. 180 minus 90. So we are getting 90 degrees here as well. I hope you guys are understanding. Moving on to the next problem. Remember the polygon, pentagon. A pentagon has 5 sides, equal sides. So we can fit 3 different triangles here without overlapping diagonals. So this is 1, 2, 3. Right. So we got 3 triangles. So the sum of angles is going to be 3 times. Right, so we can use like a number pattern thing here. So this is S4, 4-sided quadrilateral, and this is S3, so this will become S5, 5 sides, so 3 times 180 degrees. So 180 times 3 is basically 540 degrees. Each interior angle of the pentagon is 540 divided by 5. So we're going to check what's 540 divided by 5. So it's going to be 5 can go into 5 one time, 5 can go into 5 can't go into 4, so there's 0, so 108 degrees, and then 5 can go into 48 times, so that's basically 540 divided by 5 is 108 degrees. So the exterior angle is 180 minus 108, which is basically 72 degrees. Hope you guys are understanding. Now let's look at the hexagon. So I'm sure you might have figured out the pattern here. S5 is 3 times 180, S4 is 2 times 180, so obviously S6 is equal to 4 times 180, right? 4 times 180 degrees. So that's going to give me 4 times 100, 360, 720, right? 720 degrees. Each interior angle of a hexagon, you can say, call it I6, right? So we're dividing by 6, 720 divided by 6, 720 divided by 6, right? So 1 time, 6 can go into 12 2 times, so it's basically 120 degrees. So each angle here is 120. So the exterior angle of a 6-sided polygon, or a regular polygon, which is a hexagon, is 180 minus 120, which is basically equal to 60 degrees. Now I'm not going to go on because you must have figured out the formula by now. So let's use the formula to solve. So we know Sn is going to be n minus 2 times 180 degrees. Let's see if this makes sense. N is the number of sides, right? So n is the number of sides. So S6 means sum of angles of a 6-sided figure, 6-sided regular polygon, in other words the hexagon, is n minus 2, which is 4 minus 2 times 180. Then to find the interior angle, right, we take the sum and we divide it by n, the total sum divided by n. And then to find the exterior angle, we take 180 minus the interior angle, right? So this is your 3 formulas. I hope you guys understood that. Now let's see, 7-sided, so I'm just going to use the formula. So we're going to say Sn is 7-sided, so S7 is equal to 7 minus 2 times 180. So that's basically 5 times 180 degrees. That's going to give me 900. So each interior angle, 7 interior angles are identical. That's a heptagon, right? 7 sides. So we're going to take 900, right, and we're going to divide it by 7. So we will get, so 900, and we're going to divide by 7. Just checking. 7 can go into 9 1 time, remainder 2. 7 can go into 20 2 times, remainder 6. 7 times 9 is 63. So 7 times 8 is 56. And we got a remainder 4, right? So 128 and 4 over 7. So I think the 4 over 7, I can approximate that to be like 0.6, right? So yeah, approximately 0.6. 4 over 3.5 over 7 is half. So yeah, so let's approximate. Okay, I'll leave it as 4 over 7. All right, 128 and 4 over 7. Let's just check. Obviously you're not allowed to use a calculator, so you should get easy numbers, right? If you're not allowed to use a calculator. 4 divided by 7, what I'm saying is like approximately 0.6, so I was correct, right? So that's approximately 128.6 degrees. Now, so the exterior angle is basically equal to 180 minus the interior angle, which is 128.6 degrees, right? So we're going to take 180 minus 128.6, so 130, that's 50, should get 51.4, right? So 180 minus 128.6 should get 51.4, right? So I hope you guys understood that. So the exterior angle, it basically means that's the angle outside, right? Interior, each interior angle is these ones. These interior angles is basically equal to 128.6. Next one, octagon. So S8, 8-sided figure. So we're going to take 8 minus 2 times 180 degrees. For now, I'll just use the calculator. Obviously, you're not allowed to. So 180 times 6 is 1080, right? Because you got the picture now. So I8, 8-sided figure will be 1080 divided by 8. So I'm going to take this answer divided by 8. I'm getting each interior angle to be 135 degrees. So if the inside angle is 135, remember it's a regular polygon, so all sides are the same, so each angle is the same. The angle outside will be 45. Exterior angle is equal to 180 minus 135, which is 45 degrees. Right, so additional notes, we're just going to summarize this. So what have we learned? So for n-sided polygon, so n gone, right? Sn is equal to n minus 2 times 180. Each interior angle is equal to Sn, the total sum, divided by number of sides. The exterior angle is equal to 180 minus the interior angle. Right, so I hope you guys understood that. Now I want to go further and try to see if I can use this, right, to come up with the easier formula. So if I can use, now this formula can be simplified as En is equal to 180 minus, what's In? Sn over n. 180 minus, what's Sn? N minus 2 times 180 divided by n. If we open up the second part with the brackets, n times 180 is 180n, minus 2 times 180 is minus 360, and that's all over n. Now if we split up these two parts, there's 180. Remember, when you're splitting up, take the negative. So there's negative 180 n over n. Negative times negative is positive 360, and split it up with the n there. Now you can see the n and the n cancels out. In other words, we left with 180 minus 180, so that also cancels out. So we get En formula, which is 360 degrees divided by n. Right, so if you take 360 divided by n, then you will also get the exterior angle. So let's try for E5 for a pentagon. For a pentagon is 360 degrees divided by 5, right, which will give you 72 degrees. Is the exterior angle of a regular 5-sided polygon, in other words the pentagon, equals to 72. Let's check. So pentagon 5-side, yes, it's 72. So we have an easier formula. So what we can do is, or we can use En is equal to 360, it's always 360 divided by n. Right, so perfect. Now we'll use this one, which is easier, this one and that one. So we don't really need to find an interior angle then find the exterior angle. If they're asking for an exterior angle, we can just use this formula here. Now let's go to problem solving, and before we go to problem solving, let's do some properties of quadrilaterals as well. Right, so we need to understand parallelograms, special parallelograms, apply properties of rectangle, square, rhombus, kite and trapezoid to problem solving. Find the area of some quadrilaterals. Now quadrilaterals, so what we have here is a general quadrilateral, just a 4-sided figure. So what we need to know, the angle sum in a quadrilateral, the sum of angles, sum angles is equal to 360. So if I label this A, B, C, D, the sum of all the angles, so angle A plus angle B plus angle C plus angle D, the sum of angles is equal to 360 degrees. We can't really say anything about each angle because all the sides are different, and hence all the angles would be different as well. So it's just 4 different angles. In a parallelogram, what is a parallelogram? Now we need to look at the properties of a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, we have parallelogram A, B, C, D. We know opposite sides are parallel, right? And they are equal. So let's write these properties down. Opposite sides are parallel. So AB is parallel to CD, and AB is also equal to CD in a parallelogram. Also, we have AD is parallel to BC, and AD is also equal to BC. This is opposite sides are parallel, and this is opposite sides are equal, right? Then we have diagonal properties, right? So you take the diagonals here. We have a common midpoint in a diagonal, right? So let's try to draw the diagonal with a thin line, not with a highlighter. So I'm drawing diagonal AC, and I'm going to draw diagonal BD. So what we know about the diagonals of a parallelogram? What do we know about the diagonals of a parallelogram? Obviously they are not equal, they just have common midpoint. So I'm going to mark the midpoints here. So far we have 2 properties, property 1 and property 2. Property 1 is opposite sides are parallel in a parallelogram. Property 2 is opposite sides are equal, both pairs. Now there's a common midpoint here, so what we can say is AM equals MC. Third property are diagonal properties, so AM is equal to MC. In other words, M is the midpoint of line AC, right? And also M is also the midpoint of line BD, and DM equals BM. So we have a common midpoint. Common midpoint. In other words, diagonals bisect each other, or diagonals bisect each other in a parallelogram. So if you are working with coordinates, remember, if you got BD and if you got AC, if you want to find the common midpoint, you just find the midpoint of either AC or either BD. Right. So that's sufficient information, right, to solve parallelograms. In a rectangle, we have properties like each interior angle is 90, right? Rectangle is a parallelogram. In other words, all the properties here applies here. Rectangle is a parallelogram, so it's a palm. This parallel line with the M means parallelogram. So first of all, rectangle is a parallelogram. So, and also additional properties, each interior angle, first of all, is a palm. Rectangle is a parallelogram, it's a special parallelogram. Each interior angle is equal to 90 degrees, right? The diagonals are equal. Think of a page. The distance from this corner to this corner, right, is a diagonal, and the distance from this, right? So I need to label the diagram ABCD, so know exactly what we're talking about here. So let's label this diagram A, B, C, D. We still have common midpoints, but in this case they will all be equal, right? So we do have common midpoints, and the diagonals are equal as well. So equal diagonals. In other words, AC is equal to BD. So what we have, equal diagonals. Okay, so that's perfect. Moving on to the next figure, rhombus. Rhombus has all sides equal, right? So first of all, a rhombus is a parallelogram. We have all sides equal. All the sides are equal. Diagonals bisect each other and it intersects at 90 degrees. So obviously diagonals will bisect each other because it's a parallelogram. All the properties of a parallelogram applies to a rhombus. Right, so what we are saying is that the diagonals of a rhombus intersect at 90 degrees. So diagonals are perpendicular. The intersection of the diagonals are perpendicular. Very important property of a rhombus. Right, so what we're saying, they meet at 90 degrees. So let me label this diagram, call it A, B, C, D. So what we can say here is that AC is perpendicular to AD and M is a common midpoint. So in other words, each angle is 90, alright? So we're saying AC is perpendicular to BD. Now about the angles, so we need to go back to the parallelogram, the opposite angles, forgot to mention that. Remember, the opposite angles are also the same in the parallelograms. So see the this angle and that angle and that angle. So angle A is equal to angle C. Number 4, I should have said angle A is equal to angle C, and angle B is equal to angle D. That's in a parallelogram, that the opposite angles, both pairs of opposite angles are equal. So angle B, so opposite the diagonals, the angles are the same. So remember, all those properties also applies here, right? One more important property of a rhombus is that since these triangles are congruent, we can say that diagonals bisect the vertex angles. Okay, diagonals bisect the vertex angles. That means that those two angles are the same, right? And remember, these two triangles are congruent, so those two angles are the same. If I take an alternate, so these two angles are also the same. So if this is x, this will be x. If this is x, obviously by taking alternate angle, this is x and this is x. So the other one will just be, because this is x, that's 90, this will become 90 degrees minus x, and same here, right? Same here and same there. I hope you guys understood that. Right, moving on to the next part, a square. All right, so a square is a parallelogram. All the properties of a parallelogram fits into a square. A, B, C, D. Each interior angle is 90. Each interior angle is equal to 90 degrees, right? Diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal, in other words, equal diagonals. Let's see, where's the diagonals? There's the diagonal here. BD is equal to AC. BD is equal to AC, and BD is also perpendicular to AC. That's also 90 there. Now because we have equal diagonals, and that's the case, the diagonals bisect the corner angles. So if it bisects the corner angles, it can become 45, 45. Right, so you got 45, 45, 90 triangle. So if this length is A and this length is A, right, this will become square root, it will become a squared plus a squared is 2a squared, so root 2a, right? That's what BC will become, because that's the hypotenuse. So if you eliminate a, make a as 1, you're going to get 1 1 root 2. So let's see, what other properties are there? Yes, you can also say that a square is a rhombus with one additional property, which is it is a rhombus with each interior angle being equal to 90 degrees. Right, so this is the additional property. Basically, that's the only additional property that we added inside a square, different from a rhombus. Now moving on to the next type of quadrilateral, a kite. In a kite, we have A, B, C, D. So in a kite, we have adjacent sides equal. AB is equal to BC, and AD equals CD. Second property of a kite, the diagonals. Second property of a kite is about the diagonals. The diagonals are perpendicular to each other. The diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So we can say that that intersects at 90. So we got AC, line AC is perpendicular to, this upside down T means perpendicular, line AC is perpendicular to BD, and diagonals bisect the angles, and diagonals bisect the vertex angles. The diagonals bisect the longer diagonal. It's the longer diagonal bisects the vertex angle. It's a longer diagonal, so basically if this is x, that's x, then this will become y and y. That's 90. Right, so xx, yy. Remember the opposite angles are not the same because it's a kite, and you can see this is the line of symmetry here. All we can say is that angle A is equal to angle C, that's it. We can't say that A1 is equal to A2 and C1 is equal to C2, because we can clearly see that this is different. So also the longer diagonal cuts the shorter diagonal in half, right? So AM is equal to MC. So longer diagonal cuts the shorter diagonal in half. Shorter diagonal in half. That basically means AM is equal to MC. Look at the longer diagonal, BD, it cuts the shorter diagonal, right, in exactly half. So if this distance from A to M is 5, then M to C will also be 5. I hope you guys understood that. Right, so perfect. Now for each of these quadrilaterals, the sum of the inside angles is always equal to 360, as I showed you in question 1. Now let's look at a trapezoid. A trapezoid, or sometimes a trapezium, is just one pair of opposite sides are parallel. So we have A, B, C, D. So we just know the sum of angles. Sum of angles is equal to 360. That's all we know. What we can say is AB, important property of a trapezoid is AB is parallel to CD. So if these lines are parallel, if I call this X, right, then this is 180 minus X. by the corresponding angles. Remember, by the co-interior angle. The angles on the inside are co-interior. So the sum of these two angles, because we can see a U, right, is going to be the sum of these two angles added up together will be equal to 180 degrees. And similarly on the other side, if this is Y, then this will become 180 minus Y, because we can see a U in reverse, right? So if this is Y, and then this is 180 minus Y, so the sum of angles here as well will be 180. And you can see 180 plus 180 is 360. Now, what's an isosceles trapezoid? Isosceles trapezoid has a special property where it's a trapezium, opposite sides are parallel, so I'm going to write A, B, C, D, right? And these lines are the same, 1 and 2. That's an isosceles trapezoid. So we know that AB is parallel to CD, and AD is equal to BC. Now when this happens, the base angles are the same, so you can call this X and X, right? We can call them X and X. Now also there's an important property about the diagonal as well, right? So in the diagonal, if I'm drawing this diagonal, it will be exactly equal to this diagonal as well. So that basically the diagonals are the same also. Also we know that AC is equal to BD, equal diagonals. Right, so you need to look at the symmetry of these things. Now, remember, if this is X, then this angle will be 180 minus X. It will also be isosceles the other way, 180 minus X. If this angle is X, this angle will also be 180 minus X. Why? Because we can see co-interior angles. We can see the angles on the inside must sum up to 180. So you can see base angles on this side as well. So you know, in an isosceles trapezium or in an isosceles trapezoid, angle A is equal to angle B, and the opposite side, angle C, is equal to angle D. Now we're looking at trapezoid with midpoints. Now we have a very important property where this is parallel, that's parallel, and these are given as midpoints, right? So we have A, B, C, D, and you can call this line EF, right? So this is also parallel, right? So if these are given in midpoints, and this length from here to there is A, this length is B, and this length is C, what's the relationship between A, B, and C? We say that A plus B divided by 2 is equal to C, right? To find the value of C, you need to add up A and B, basically the opposite ends of the trapezoid, and divided by 2. So I hope you understand this. It's a very important property which we can use in problem solving. Now we go to the actual problem solving questions, and we are ready to start, where we have covered all the notes. What is the sum of the interior angles of a hexagon? What's the sum of interior angles of a hexagon? So we want interior angles. So what is the sum of the interior angle? So we are asking for the sum. Alright, so we say S6 is 6 minus 2 times 180. In other words, 4 times 180 degrees. So basically we are looking at 4 times 180 degrees. That is 36 times 2, 720 degrees. So it is 720. Right, so remember we've done it before as well. Interior angles of a hexagon. If you go right up, the hexagon interior angles is 720. Perfect. Moving on to question 2. If one interior angle of a hexagon, a regular polygon, if one interior angle of a regular polygon is 135, how many sides does it have? Right? So interior angle is already equal to interior angle is already equal to 135. So what's the exterior angle? Remember I gave you a formula. Exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by n. So if the interior angle is 135, the angle on the inside is 135, right? What's the exterior angle? The exterior angle is 135 minus 180 minus 135, which is 45, right? And that's 360 degrees divided by n. Now you can take the n up, 45 down, so we say n is equal to 360 divided by 45, right? So 360 divided by 45, you should get 8, right? Because I can say this is 45 times 2 does, I can divide the top by 45 and divide the bottom by 45, or I can divide the top by 9 and divide by 9. Whichever way you work it out, you can get 8. So remember, 45 times 2 is 90, and then 90 times 4 is 360, so 8 is correct. So it's an 8-sided polygon. In other words, it's an octagon. The exterior angle of a regular polygon is 30. What is the sum of the interior angles? So exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by n. We already given the exterior angle is 30 degrees. So we're taking 360 dividing by n. So n is equal to 360 divided by, what is the sum of the interior angles? So we need to look at how many sides this, remember the exterior angle of a regular polygon is 30. What is the sum? So we need to figure out how many sides this regular polygon has. That's what we're trying to figure out. So that's divided by 30. So we know this here has 12 sides, right? So the sum is S12, which is 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 times 180, that's 1800 degrees. 1800, so the answer is D. I hope you guys are understanding. Don't forget to leave comments if you're not understanding. In a quadrilateral ABCD, angle A is 80, angle B is 100, angle C is 70. What is angle D? So it's a general quadrilateral with 3 angles, right? So I can just look at the quadrilateral that I've done before and just copy that for you, so you can understand. So we're looking at something like this. Right, so we just have 4-sided quadrilateral that has 4 sides. A general quadrilateral, not a special quadrilateral like a rectangle or something. So they're saying angle B is 100, right? So I'm just going to put 100 here, right? Angle C is 70, right? Angle A is 80. Whoa, that doesn't look like angle is. Let's put 80 here, right? And we can find, okay, we can't just fit in any angle anywhere, so I'm just going to take this out. Remember, we've got 3 angles and we need to find the 4th angle. So 80 plus 100 plus 70 plus angle D is equal to 360. So the sum of angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. So you just add up everything here. We're getting 180 plus 70, that's 250, plus angle D is equal to 360. So angle D is now equal to 360 minus 250, which is 110 degrees. So that's my answer, B. Which of the following is not a property of a parallelogram? Opposite sides are equal, it is a property of a parallelogram. Opposite angles are equal, it is a property. Diagonals are equal, that's false. Only in a rectangle and a square the diagonals are equal. In a general parallelogram, diagonals are not equal. You can clearly see this is a parallelogram. See, we have a longer diagonal and we have a shorter diagonal. How can that be equal? So that's false. Diagonals bisect each other, that's true, right? Diagonals bisect each other. I told you, common midpoint story. In a rectangle, the diagonals are what? Are the diagonals perpendicular in a rectangle? No. Do the diagonals bisect each other? Yes. Equal in length. They are equal in length. So what's the answer? Both B and C? Yes, that should be correct. Both B and C. You can't select one of these answers because both B and C are correct. Only So in which type of parallelograms are the diagonals perpendicular? Diagonals are perpendicular only in square and rhombus. Only square, rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular in the parallelogram. But also in a kite, the diagonals are also perpendicular. But now they're talking about a rectangle. Rectangles, the diagonals are not perpendicular. In a rhombus, there's a rhombus here. If one diagonal is 10, remember the diagonal is 10 here, and the other one is 24. So let's use 10 and 24. Remember the diagonals bisect each other. So if in a rhombus, if one diagonal is 10, the shorter diagonal is 10, so it's going to be 5 and 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. And the other one is 24, so the diagonals bisect each other, so it's going to be 12 and 12. What is the side length? What is the side of the rhombus? So you got a Pythagoras thing happening here, right? Or a Pythagoras, because you have a right angle triangle. So that's the longest side. So the longest side is equal to, they ask for S, right? So let me just call it the longest side. The longest side is 5 squared plus 12 squared. So it's going to become square root 12 squared plus 5 squared, right? So the square root 144 plus 25, the square root 169, which is 13. If you remember the Pythagorean triples, 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, that's very good. So the answer is 13. Otherwise just solve it using Pythagoras. In square PQRS, if the side length is 5, remember the side length is 5, what is the length of the diagonal? Simple. We got 5 and 5, right? So the length of the diagonal is here, right? So let's put 5 here, and that's 90. Alright, so we have 90 degrees there, and it's a square. So this will become square root of, the diagonal will become square root of 25 plus 25, 5 squared plus 5 squared. So 25 plus 25, which is, using Pythagoras, the square root of 50. Square root of 50 is 25 times 2, so 5 root 2. Okay, because 50 is 25 times 2. So what's the square root of 25? 5. Square root of 2 is root 2. So 5 root 2. A quadrilateral has diagonals that bisect each other at 90. So if the diagonals bisect each other at 90, we're either talking about a quadrilateral that has diagonals bisect each other at 90, we're talking about a square or a rhombus, right, or a kite, but are not equal. So the diagonals are not equal. Diagonals are not equal. In a square, diagonals are equal. D1 equals D2. In a rhombus, D1 is not equal to D2, right? And in a kite, D1 is not equal to D2, but we don't have a kite here. So the only option available is a rhombus, because they're talking about a quadrilateral. I can also consider a kite. If they said a parallelogram, then I have to omit the kite. I have to leave the kite out. Right, so we only have a rhombus. Alright, so if one angle of a rhombus is 60, right, so let's take 60 degrees here. What is the ratio of the longer diagonal to the shorter diagonal? Nice question. Right, so because the angle is 60, remember the angles of a rhombus, right? So if that is 60, it's going to become 30, 30, right? And then we drop down a perpendicular here. Right, so if this is 60, this entire angle is 120. So this will also become 60, 60. And this will become 30, 30. Why? Because the diagonals of a rhombus bisects the vertex angles. So that's 30. This is 60, 60. So taking an alternative, that will also be 60. So we are working with a right angle triangle here. 30, 60, 90 triangle. So we have 30 here, we have 60 there, and we have 90 here. 60 degrees is on the inside, right? So let's consider this to be the longer diagonal, right? The longer diagonal here, and that's the shorter diagonal. Now remember, sine of 30, we're using trigonometry. Sine of 30 is half, so this is square root of 3. Okay, so the shorter diagonal is basically 1, and this is root 3. So the length of the, what they want, longer diagonal to the shorter diagonal. The length of the longer diagonal to the distance of the shorter diagonal. The distance of the longer diagonal is 2 root 3. Why? Because root 3 plus root 3, we only worked out 1/2 of the triangle here, right? And the distance of the shorter diagonal is 1 plus 1, which is 2. So we can divide both sides by 2, and becomes root 3 is 2, 1. Root 3 is 2, 1. So the answer is A here. Next question. In a parallelogram ABCD, angle A is 3x plus 10. So looking at ABCD. So angle A is 3x plus 10. That's 5x minus 30. Right. What is angle D? What is angle D? Is, remember, is the same as angle B, because the opposite angles are the same. So first we need to add up 3x plus 10 and 5x minus 30, because it's a parallelogram, right? In a parallelogram, the interior angles are the same, co-interior angles. So we're going to say 3x plus 10 plus 5x minus 30 degrees is equal to 180. So we got 8x is equal to 180. Remember, you got negative 20 on the side, you got 200. You've got negative 80 on this side. Oh, sorry, you got negative 20 on the side, taking it over. So 200, and we're taking 200 and we're going to divide by 8. Okay, so x is equal to, taking 200 divided by 8. 8 can go into 22 times 4, so 25. X is 25. Now, if x is 25, remember angle D is the same as 5x minus 30. Right, so we're going to take 5 times 25 minus 30 degrees. 5 times 25 is 125. 5 times, wait, see if we have done this correctly. 3x plus 10 plus 5x minus 30 degrees is equal to 180, that's 200. 8x is equal to 200. X is equal to 25. We want to find the measure of angle D. So the measure of angle D is 5 times x, which is 25, minus 30 degrees. So 5 times 25 is 125 minus 30. We should get 95. Yeah, so it's none of these options. We should have 95 somewhere here. Not. Let's just make this. Let's call it 95. Right. So the answer is B. Not 80. Let's make it 95. Right. So I hope you guys are understanding. Moving on to the next question. In a parallelogram ABCD, angle A is 2x plus 20. Let's call it ABCD like this. ABCD. A is 2x plus 10 and B is 4x minus 10. Right? So again we're going to add up because it's parallel this way. What is the measure of angle D? Angle D is 4x minus 10. Right? Because the opposite angles are the same. So we're going to say 4x minus 10 plus 2x plus 10. is equal to 4x minus 10 plus 2x plus 10 is equal to 180, the co-interior angles, right? So I'm adding up this one and this one, or you can add up 2x plus 10 and 4x minus 10. So the 10s cancel out. We got 6x is equal to 180 degrees, so x is equal to 30 degrees. If x is 30, then angle D will be 4 times 30 minus 10. That's 120 minus 10, that's going to be 110. Yeah, it looks like I just copied the multiple choice from here to there. I didn't change it. Alright, so that's angle C is 110, 110, not 100. That's correct. That's 110. In a rectangle EFGH, we got diagonal EG is 4x plus 2 EFGH, right? So diagonal, let's see, we need to check which one is the diagonal. EG. Okay, they're talking about the other diagonal, EG, so let's just say, remember the diagonals are equal either way, so we're not going to waste time with that. The diagonals are equal. Alright, so I've got diagonals. It's a rectangle, so this is 90, right? Okay, both the diagonals they're talking about. So now in a rectangle we know that we have equal diagonals. So if the diagonals are equal, then we can solve for x, right? So D1 equals D2 in a rectangle. Both the diagonals are the same. So the first diagonal was 4x plus 2 equals 6x minus 10. Bring the 6x over, you get negative 2x. 4x minus 6x. Take the 2 over, you will get negative 12. So x is equal to 6. It's not degrees, it's the distance. So x is equal to 6. What is the length of EG? EG was 4x plus 2. So line EG is 4x plus 2. 4 times 6 plus 2, 24 plus 2, which is 26. So the answer is D here. I hope you guys are understanding and enjoying the video and building up on your knowledge. Let's move on to question 14. The diagonals of a rhombus are 16 and 12. Because the diagonals are 16 and 12, let's take the longer diagonal to be 16 and 12. What do we know about the rhombus? They intersect at 90. Because this is 16, it's going to be 8 and 8, and the other one is 6 and 6. Right? What is its perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around the object. Right? So first we need to find the side. Side is equal to square root of 6 squared plus 8 squared. That's 36 plus 64, that's 100, and that's 10. So the side is 10, so 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. So what's the perimeter of a rhombus? 4 times the side, 4s. So the answer is 40. This is 4 times side. Let me write SI to represent the side. SI, side. So 4 times 10. So write it here. 4 times 10, which is 40. Right. So we are looking at option A. Moving on to the next question. A trapezoid has 2 parallel sides, which is 8 and 12. Right, so that's parallel, and non-parallel side of 5 centimeter each. This is 5 and this is 5, so they are equal, isosceles. What is its perimeter? Come on man, that's easy. 8 plus 12, that's 20. Perimeter is 8 plus 12 plus 10. Right, so you're just going to get 30. That is simple. In a kite, 2 unequal sides are 5 centimeters. In a kite, 2 unequal sides are 5 centimeters and 12 centimeters. So this is 5, 5. That's 12, 12. That's what they're talking about here. What is its perimeter? So the perimeter is 5 plus 5, which is 10, and 12 plus 12, which is 24. Which is perimeter means the distance around the object, alright? So basically we're taking 5 plus 5 plus 12 plus 12. Right, so 5 plus 5 is 10, 12 plus 12 is 24, so that's going to give me 34. So the perimeter is 34 centimeters. Question 17. If one angle of a parallelogram is 65, so that's 65, what is the measure of the adjacent angle? Adjacent means the angle next to that, this angle here, or that angle there. It doesn't matter because both of them are the same. So the adjacent angle is this angle over here. So A, B, C, D. So they're either talking about angle B or angle D. Both of them are adjacent to each other. Remember, the opposite one is this one here. That's opposite. We're not looking at the opposite angle, we're looking at the adjacent angle. So it's angle B is equal to 180 minus 65. So I think you get 115, right? Because the sum of 65 plus angle B will give me 180. So just take 180 minus 65. So the answer is C. Moving on to the next question, question 18. A quadrilateral has three angles measuring 75, 105, 120. What is the fourth angle? That's easy. The fourth angle, angle 4, is 360. The sum of angles of a quadrilateral is 360 minus 75 plus 105 plus 120. Now remember, 75 plus 105, that's going to give me 180. 180 plus 20 is 200, 300. So 360 minus 300. So that's going to give me 60 degrees. So simple, 60 degrees. In a square, the diagonal is 10. Now, what's the property of a square? We have equal diagonals again. So diagonal 1 equals diagonal 2. What is the area? Right? So we just have diagonal, which is equal to, the diagonal is 10 in the square. So remember, D is equal to 10. But how do we solve for D? Right? So D is equal to 10. We need to find the side. So side, obviously if that's the side, then this is also the side. So square root side squared plus side squared is equal to 10. Right, so we can square both sides. So we got 2s squared. I'm squaring both sides. S squared plus s squared is 2s squared. See? Right? Now because I squared both sides, right, I've got an answer of 100. 10 squared is 100. So s squared is equal to 50. And what is s squared? That's the area. So no need to find the side. Right? So that is the area. 50 is the area. Remember, side squared is to find the area of a square. What's area of a square? Area is equal to side squared. Now we already have side squared. No need to solve for side. Moving on to the next question. Which shape has diagonals that are perpendicular bisectors but not equal? Diagonals that are perpendicular bisectors. That's a rhombus, right? But not equal. So in a rhombus, the diagonals basically bisect each other at 90. Should take the other rhombus, right? So diagonals bisect each other at 90 in a rhombus. Let's see if I have a rhombus here. Yeah, do I have a rhombus? You can see in a rhombus the diagonals are not equal but are perpendicular bisectors. They bisect each other at 90. So it's a rhombus again. Right, and but if the diagonals are equal, then it will become a square. In a parallelogram, if one side is 7 and the perimeter is 30, what is the other side? So how do you calculate the perimeter of a parallelogram? You say 2 length plus 2 twice the width. So let's just say the length is 7. So 2 times 7 plus 2 times the width is equal to 30. So 30 minus 14, 2 times 7 is 14, 30 minus 14 is 16. So W, the width, the other side is basically equal to 8. Yes, so perfect. Remember, perimeter is adding up the four sides. If the quadrilateral is a parallelogram, find x, y, and z, right? So remember they are parallel, right? So to find x, let's find x. Remember it's a parallelogram. To find the value of x, it's going to be x is equal to 180 minus 125, because we can see a u here. These are co-interior angles, adjacent co-interior angles. So 180 minus 125, that is 60, that's going to give me 55 degrees. So I've got 55 here. Perfect. Now this is 55, then the opposite angle is also 55. And so if I label this A, B, C, D, and E, call it E1, E2, C1, C2. Alright, so this is also 55. Then I can find angle E1, and then I can take an alternate here and find Y. So let's say opposite angles are the same, so angle D is 55. Opposite angles of palm, right? This was co-interior angles, right? Now that's 55, so angle E1, or just find angle E2, you'll find Z. Angle E2 is the exterior angle of the triangle. Exterior angle of the triangle is the sum of the interior opposite angles. So if you sum up 55 and 56, you will get angle Z. So angle Z, what is angle Z? 56 plus 55, that's 111, right? And then Y, this is because exterior angles of triangle, that's the exterior angle of triangle, and then Y is equal to angle E1, right? Why is Y equal to angle E1? Because that's alternate angles, because line AD is parallel to BC. That's the reason why. And what's angle E1? 180 minus 111. So you should get 5969. Yeah, so 180 minus 100, yeah, so you will get 69 degrees for Y. Right, so I hope you guys understood that these are like written components. So we found X, we found Z, we found Y. You can find them in any order you like. Next question, if JK is 12, right, and GF is 2.5 JK. What does 2.5 JK mean? 2.5 times JK, the length of JK. What is the length of HL? What's the length of HL? So first we need to find what's 2.5 times JK. That's 2.5 times 12. So 2 times 12 is 24, and half of 12 is 6, so that's going to give me 30. So to find HL, it's going to be, remember this is equal to 30. It's going to be 12 plus 30 divided by 2. So you're getting 42 divided by 2, which is 21. So the length of HL is 21. So the answer is C. Next one. Find the distance BC in the trapezoid. Right, so let's find the distance BC. So we're going to say 3 plus 9 plus y formula, right? Remember EF is the midpoint of AD and BC. So 3 plus 9y plus 3 divided by 2 is equal to 4y plus 5. Let's multiply both sides by 2. If you multiply both sides by 2, then that and that cancels out. We're left with 3 plus 3, which is 6, plus 9y is equal to 4y times 2 is 8y plus 10. 2 times 5 is 10. Bring the 8y over, you get y, and 10 minus 6 is 4. So you know y is equal to 4, but we want BC. So BC is equal to 9 times 4 plus 3, that's 36 plus 3, which is 39 units. So that should be your answer. I hope you guys understood that. Right, moving on to the next one. Solve for x. Oh, that's great, because this is our last and final question. Solve for x in the trapezoid. You want to solve for x, right? So we can use this proportion theory here. We can say 7 over 3.5 is equal to x over 4. So 7 over 3.5 is equal to x over 4. We can cross multiply, say 3.5x is equal to 4 times 7, which is 28. 28 divided by, wait, we need to look at, let's see, we have parallel lines. Right, so first we have parallel lines. Just look at this. So we got 7 and 3.5. It looks like this, because this ratio is 7 and 3.5 is divided in the ratio 2:1, right? So the ratio of the line being divided is 2:1. So this here also needs to be divided into 2:1. So remember, 7 is to 3.5, right? So we need to take 7 divided by 3.5, the other way around. Yeah, so we're doing the right thing. So 7 divided by 3.5 should be x divided by 4. 7 divided by 3.5 is 2, and x divided by 4. You can just cross multiply. X is equal to 8. Yeah, so you could have checked that. If you double 3.5, you get 7, so you need to double 4 to get 8. Right, I hope you guys understood everything. Don't forget to leave comments in the video section. Thank you, and all the best.